We look now in this third video of week 4 at the relationship between the operating profitability, ROCE, return on capital employed, the company viewpoint, and the ROE, return on equity, the shareholders, the owner's viewpoint. This fundamental relation is known as the financial leverage. To understand it, let's take a very simple example of two companies which completely identical, same revenues, same expenses, same EBIT, let's say 18. Real twins. The only difference is that company A, which has a capital employed of 100, is 100% financed with equity. While company B, which has also a capital employed of 100, is financed 50% by equity and 50% by debt, and the debt is at 6% interest rates. Now, if we look at the P&L of these two companies, let's assume that the P&L of company A is 18, and obviously 18 also for company B, because they're similar companies. Company A has no debt, so no interest, 33% corporate tax rate, 6, put in bracket to show that it's negative, and therefore a net profit of 12. Company B, 6% of 30 turns out to be 3 of interest. So 18 minus 3 is 15. You pay 33% on 15, which is 5. And therefore, the net profit is 10. If we calculate now the after-tax ROCE of A and B, you remember the formula? That would be EBIT multiplied by 1 minus T, 1 minus 0.33, divided by capital employed, which is 100. So the ROCE after tax is 12%. Obviously, for company B, same EBIT, same tax rate, same capital employed, 12%. Now, if you calculate the ROE, remember the formula. ROE is the net profit divided by equity. Net profit is here 12 divided by 100 of equity, which is 12%. While the net profit of company B is 10, but on 50 of equity, so 10 divided by 50 is 20%. So you see clearly here, company A with no debt has a return on capital employed which is equal to ROE, and company B has an ROE which is higher than the ROCE, and this is what we call earlier the leverage factor. So why for company B ROE is higher than ROCE? Because of the leverage factor. The formula is that the return on equity of a company is equal to its return on capital employed plus this leverage factor. And this leverage factor is made of the difference between ROCE and the interest rates and the debt equity ratio. Let's apply that to company B. What is the ROE of company B? First, 12% return on capital employed. 12% on return on capital employed. Plus, anytime the company B invests $1, this dollar is returning 12%. This dollar costs to the company, in fact, 4%. Some of you are surprised at this figure. I'll come back to that. And the ratio debt over equity is 50 of debt, 50 of equity. If you do the calculation, you find 12 plus 12 minus 4 is 8, multiply by 1, 50 over 50, and this is giving you the 20% that we found earlier. Just a quick comment. Most of you are surprised by this 4% because we say that the company is borrowing at 6. But in fact, the company pays 6%, but it costs the company less than 6. Why? Because anytime the company is paying interest, you deduct this interest from your operating profit and you reduce your tax. Remember, for company A, the tax was 6. Here, tax is only 5. So in fact, you pay 3 of interest, but you save in tax savings, 1, because you pay 5 instead of 6 for company A. And therefore, the real cost, the after-tax cost of debt, the after-tax interest are 3 minus 1, 2. And 2 out of the 50 that you borrowed, the debt is 50, gives you a 4% net interest rate. The other way of seeing that is to say also that your cost of debt after tax is the cost of debt before tax multiplied by 1 minus t. If you apply that to our company, you will see that this is 6% here and 1 minus 0.33. And if you do that, 6% multiplied by 0.66 or 67, you find the 4% that we have found before. Now, I have a question for you. In which company, A or B, would you like to be a shareholder? Stop this video for a few minutes and think about it, and then start again. Most people would probably answer B. This is not a bad answer because 20% is better than 10%. But don't forget risk. The ROE of B is higher at the expense of a higher risk due to a higher level of debt, which, remember our first week, is going to increase the volatility of its return. The risk-return trade-off is essential in finance. If you want to sleep well, low risk, you will eat little, low return. If you want to eat more, you will sleep less, higher risk. So the good answer to my question was, again, it depends. If you don't like risk, if you are very risk avert, you would prefer A. If you like a little bit more risk, if you are a little bit more risk taker, you may prefer B. A few lessons on which we'll come back in the next video, video 4, can be derived from the introduction of the leverage effect. First, always think in terms of risk-return trade-off. Finance is a risk-return trade-off problem. Second, it is a crucial information to separate in the return for an investor, for a shareholder, what is coming from operations and what is coming from financing. What is due to the operating activity of the business, what is due to the financial leverage. A 20% return on equity made of 8% of operating profitability and 12% of financial leverage is not exactly the same than the 20% made of 17% of operating performance and 3% of financial leverage. Third, this leads to a third point, which is that the total risk of a company is equal to the basic business risk plus the financial risk. A company with a low business risk, stable business, a monopolistic position, whatever, can afford a high or a higher financial risk. A company with a high business risk, technological risk, high competition, etc., should be more conservative financially and have a much lower level of debt. Finally, number 4, never use your weapons in times of peace. Keep them for the war. A company with no debt or a low debt level could indeed increase its profitability by increasing its leverage. But why doing it when there is no real need to do it? Just sometimes to react to the market pressures. Keeping a debt potential is a fantastic strength as it provides a very valuable flexibility, the ability to borrow in the future when the need will be real, either to lead an acquisition strategy or to defend yourself against some attacks or to face a very difficult and dramatic economic situation. Having an option to borrow, as the specialists would call it, is a great asset in a very uncertain and unpredictable world. In our next video, video 4 of week 4, we will explore further the consequences of financial leverage on the performance and health of a company. So, see you in a moment.